Well, hi there, friends. Welcome to Thursday afternoon, at least in the Central Time Zone. My name's Coach Carter. I am here for Xperience Growth Coaching and Consulting. Excited to be with you again on this Facebook Live. Experience Growth Coaching and Consulting, right? Our mission is to help people win the mental game of business, right? Become the CEO of both your business and your life. And so the reason why we're doing these Facebook Lives, and I think this is actually our third week, is we want to provide some skills, some techniques, some perspective that can help you win the mental game of business for yourself as well as help others. And so that's what we're really going to talk about today is how can you help yourself and help others shift some perspective, especially around actions and activities that might seem a little scary or make folks a little nervous. As I mentioned, this is the third week of us doing these Facebook Lives, and frankly, we've seen some and received some amazing feedback. So thanks so very much for those of you who have reached out to us, whether it's in our messages here on Facebook or emails that we've gotten in that said, hey, you're taking a look, you're watching, and you are grateful for the content and the information that we're providing. And of course, if you're watching this now and you're watching this live or you're watching this on a recording or even on our YouTube channel, feel free to write into us, whether you want to message us here on Facebook or somewhere in the YouTube app, or even an email to us or on our website. Lots of places to get a hold of us. Feel free to let us know what topics you want us to cover in this format or even in one of the blogs that we write on a weekly basis. Love to interact and make sure that, frankly, we're giving you information and tips and tricks that will help you win the mental game of business for yourself and for others. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite coaching models. It's called "What's the Worst That Could Happen?" I use this with clients routinely, and it really helps them up the mental game of business for themselves. And also, I use this on me. Right? It's when I'm self-coaching myself. This is one of the things that I go to quite often because it helps me again shift perspective. As I think about self-coaching and what that looks like, and even getting coaching for myself, it reminds me of a really kind of cheesy commercial series from the 90s. People of a certain age will remember this, right? You remember the Hair Club for Men. Anybody remember that if you're out there watching, right? It's a series of commercials, went on for, 10, 12 years. And it would show the typical, hair restoration type commercials where folks that have a new full head of hair, and it always ended with the CEO who was presenting the commercial each time, and he would say, what's the line? Everyone remembers who was watching it. I'm not only the president, I'm also a client. And I think that's so important because you want to make sure that as you are working with folks that they're using the same techniques, that they're getting the benefit of the same techniques, the same programs that they're walking you through and using with you. And so I share this model because it's one that I go to with myself quite often whenever I need to help myself shift a little perspective. And so I'm sharing that with you because it works for me, and I've seen it work for clients, and I know it can work for you as well. So let's get into it. I like to use this technique primarily when there's an activity or an action that we want to take, yet it's daunting or scary. That's really important to me because usually when we come up with activities and actions we want to take, it's because we know it'll help us win in business or in any other pillar of our life: relationships, wealth, health, personal growth, spirituality. And yet, whatever that action is, it feels a little daunting. It can be a little scary. And what can happen, when we kind of get into that frame of mind? Well, it can be a vicious cycle. Right, and when we get in that vicious cycle, well, it causes us to procrastinate. It can create paralysis. We end up not doing things or even retreating because we don't want to face whatever that scary thing is, and that makes sense. Right? Like if you think something bad might happen, well, then what's the point of going to do it, right? And so this can help us shift perspective. I share, I use it with myself. One of the reasons that I'm even doing these Facebook Lives is because I went through this technique. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen, right? The idea of kind of going and doing Facebook Live, man, I had a little resistance to doing that. And so when I walked through this, it helped me shift my perspective and realize that doing this actually is a benefit and something that I can get out of it, and I can help other people. And so that's why I really am excited to share this, because it really does. It helps me, and I've seen it help other people, and I know, again, it can help you. So let's get into it. So first thing you want to do is start with identifying what the problem is. Typically it would sound something like, I'm nervous or I'm scared about taking this action. I think this is where it works really, really well, when there's something that you want to do, but man, it's just hard to get over that hump to actually get in and do it, right? There's some sort of fear, there's some sort of resistance, some friction around doing it. So we want to identify what that is. And then once we kind of know what action we're not taking that we want to take because of some resistance, we ask this question: what's the worst thing that could happen? I love this. And the reason why is because it plays into the state that we're already in. Right? We already are believing something bad could happen, right? Otherwise, what's the point of being scared, right? If you see a snake that's slithering up to you, right? You get scared. Why? Because the snake could bite you, and that could be bad. Well, same thing about with the action that we are wanting to take. Right? There's something there that is fearful to us. We're nervous about it. That's keeping us from wanting to do it. And so, what's the worst that could happen? Kind of meets us where we're at. Right? It doesn't say, oh, you can do it, slap on the back and kind of, emotionally whitewash, the fact that there's a problem. No, this actually meets you where you're at and goes, okay, cool. So there's a problem here. There's something that could potentially be scary. Let's go to the nth degree, right? Let's figure out, well, what's the worst thing that could happen, right? And it actually acknowledges that fear that we have inside of us. And so I love it for that purpose. What's the worst thing that could happen? Now, once we've identified whatever that worst thing could be, right? We've racked our brain, we've created, we've built the monster into this big thing, right? What's the worst that could happen? We then want to ask, okay, well, how likely is it to happen? Right? I love going with this question, how likely is it to happen? Because what you'll notice really immediately when you ask this question is that whatever that worst thing is probably really unlikely to happen. And in some cases, it's almost impossible for it to happen. And so this is where we begin to shift that perspective a little bit, right? We notice kind of the veil of whatever is scary to us kind of raising a little bit, right? Because when we go, well, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? Okay, we come up with that. It sounds pretty bad. Well, how likely is that to happen? Oh, it's actually not that likely. It's actually unlikely for it to happen, and it almost is impossible for it to happen. Well, once we realize that's actually more true than less true, right? We start to, again, shift our perspective, and we don't have to fret as much because, frankly, it's probably unlikely to come true. So then once we realize, what's the worst thing that could happen, it's probably unlikely to come true, the next question I like to ask is, okay, well, and even if it does come true, how bad would it really be? See, this is cool because when we ask, well, how bad could it really be, right? We want to emphasize the word really, because if it does happen, how bad would it really be? And, I like it because we're still acknowledging that, yeah, it's possible, right? Even though it's really unlikely, it is possible. So if it is possible and it actually does happen, how bad would it be? Almost all the time, it wouldn't be that bad. Right? Like whatever that really bad thing, so if the worst thing that could happen actually does, which is unlikely, but it does, it really wouldn't even be that bad. So if that's the case, we can get through it, right? And sometimes it even would make us stronger, right? If the worst thing happened, we would get a learning from it. We would learn something that we can use to make us better for the next time. Well, now not only is that really not that bad? We actually can gain something by doing it. How cool of a perspective is that? Right? So it's not going to kill us. It actually could even make us stronger. So, and that's actually if the worst thing could happen. And now, once you ask this question and realize it's really unlikely, even if it does, man, I can get through it, right? Well, now our perspective has really shifted on what we thought was a problem, right? So now we want to keep our momentum going with this question here. Okay, based on all that, now what do you want to do? It's very simple, right? So once you've realized that, gosh, this thing that I wanted to do to begin with, right, that I was kind of scared, kind of nervous to do, once we've kind of walked through this this mental exercise and realized that, oh man, the worst thing isn't that bad, and even if it does happen, then I want to do this thing because I realized it's not scary anymore. I'm not as nervous as I once was because whatever that bad thing is so unlikely to happen, I want to do it, right? That thing that was scary, that big monster, it's just not there anymore. And so now we've identified, gosh, I want to do this. And then when we finish with this home run question, right? This is the one that brings it all home. And when you do it, what will you ultimately get? See, I love how this question's phrased because it now goes, now when you do it, right, we are presupposing that they're going to do the action, right? That helps both in our own mind, us go, okay, well, yeah, I'm committing to this, and it helps other people commit to actually doing the action when you do it, right? What will you ultimately get? What I always hear something that's usually twofold. I hear someone will say something to the effect of man, I'm going to get whatever this tangible result is, right? Like for me, when I looked at doing these Facebook Lives, I was like, gosh, when I actually do it, I'm probably going to get some really good feedback. I'm probably gonna be able to help somebody through something. I believe that I'm actually able to do that now, and so that gives me the confidence to actually want to do it. The other really cool thing is this, right? So we do the action, we get the tangible result. But usually I also hear that people get the intangible result as well, right? We get greater confidence in ourselves, right? We've overcome something that was once scary. We actually do it, right? We not only get the result that we wanted to get to begin with, we actually gain even more confidence because we have a bigger belief in ourselves that we can do the hard things. We can overcome the things that once were scary and are no longer scary. We no longer have to fear that. It gives us greater confidence that we can go address other challenges that may be a little scary or create a little bit of fear inside of us. Right, so not only do you get the actual result that you wanted to begin with, you get the ancillary benefit of greater confidence, right? Greater self-belief in yourself. And that goes so far beyond, right, whatever result and reward you get from actually doing the activity, right? It helps us both in the short run and in the long run. So I hope this has been a really helpful coaching model that you can use with yourself, you can use with other people, whether you are a mentor or coaching people on or in your business. Just a word of caution as you kind of go out and you guys have greater confidence to work with this line of questioning. This is a do with process, not a do to process, meaning that we only want to work with people who are in a mindset and mind frame that, yeah, they want to get past whatever it is that is getting in their way, right? This is a very simple model. I'm sure you will agree as you've walked through it, but we want to make sure that we are not bombarding people with it, that we are making sure that they are comfortable with going through such a process, that they are ready to let go of whatever that thing that was scary to them. So we want to make sure this is a do with, not a do to process. So guys, if this has been helpful today, and I trust that it has, feel free to go to xperiencegrowth.com to learn more about how we can help you get past all the things that are keeping you from winning the mental game of business for yourself and creating the life that you want to have. I'm more than happy to do that. Talk about our coaching and consulting programs. Again, xperiencegrowth.com. Go there, check out our coaching and consulting programs. Also check out our blog. And if you're not already a member of our network where you can get our blog emailed to you each and every week. Go ahead and sign up there so you can get that email directly into your inbox. Each and every week we write a blog that was goal to, again, help people win the mental game of business, help elevate yourself, empower you so that you can go and do the things that you want to do and have the life that you want to have. I appreciate all you hanging out with me today or watching this video, whether you're watching it here live on Facebook or whether you are watching it as a recording on Facebook or even on our YouTube channel. You'll have a great rest of your day. If you need me for anything, again, Coach Carter with Xperience Growth Coaching and Consulting, reach out to me here on the Xperience Growth Facebook page through a direct message. Go to our website, xperiencgrowth.com, and message us there. And for those of you that want to take this even further, go ahead and sign up for a free coaching consultation. It's a free 30-minute call with me where we talk through what you would potentially would want to get out of coaching, out of a coaching relationship, and see if working with Xperience Growth Coaching and Consulting is the right move for you and your business and your life right now. You'll have a great rest of your Thursday or whatever day you're watching this. Talk to you very soon.